up, guys? Hey, I appreciate y'all who supported me buying this video. If you're watching this video right now, yo, shout out to y'all. We finna do the Tattoo Bible 101. Chiefs, can you see that on camera? It's good? Okay, perfect. Man, if y'all watching this video, man, y'all finna get up on so much game. My bad it took me so long to make this. I had a couple of previous engagements. I had emergency pop up. I had to travel. It's very strenuous being an artist at this level of what I'm doing. This is new to me, just like this information new to y'all. Well, the information not new to me, but just doing this process of teaching y'all is really new to me. So thank y'all for bearing with me. So just for that, I'm gonna go ahead and drop y'all a free game. I know y'all want to do tattoos like you see me do all the time, right here, like this, like that. We gonna make it real simple and real easy for y'all, and I'm gonna show y'all the tips and the tricks that I use myself to help me elevate to get to this level of artistry on what I'm in. So let's go ahead and let's get ready and let's get up into it. First and foremost, I'm finna tell y'all rule number one, major rule number one. Yo, major rule number one, you guys, we're gonna use water only. I know a lot of y'all, if y'all subscribe to my OnlyFans, subscribe to my YouTube, y'all already know I practice what I preach. But I'm finna tell y'all, the reason why I say water only, let's just go ahead and take for instance, let's just say taking a shower. When you guys take a shower and you soap your whole body up, ask yourself, do you get in there and rinse the water off? Or rinse the soap off of your body? Or do you soap up and hop straight out the shower, go ahead and drop, and then you're on about your day driving over the hill? I know, right? You of course want to rinse yourself off. So ask yourself doing the skin. When you don't do that, or when you don't rinse the body off, when you don't clean the skin, what does skin do? It gets irritated. Skin gets irritated. Skin gets irritated. So with the skin get irritated, and I probably fucked that word up. I'm finna tell y'all, I fuck words up. So take that shit with a grain of salt. I know my spelling's not immaculate, but yo, skin's gonna get irritated. So when y'all are tattooing with all of these green soaps, all of these chemicals, all of these ointments, all of this shit is getting trapped into the skin and getting trapped inside of the pores of the skin. You don't want shit to get trapped inside the pores of the skin, because that's where the ink is going to slide up into. And we're going to get into it later in the video so I can show y'all how ink actually goes in skin. But you want to use water only, because the whole time while you're working, you got to keep this thing in check called a pH balance. If some of y'all women are watching the video, you already know what I'm talking about. So you guys are not familiar with pH balances, it is the natural, chemical, alkaline, and acidic level of the body, naturally. Everyone has pH level, fellas. So when you using water only, you're making sure that the body's staying at a perfect pH balance the whole time while you tag. What is that gonna do? It's gonna reduce swelling. That's gonna automatically reduce swelling. It's gonna automatically cut out irritation. It's gonna cut down on redness, discharge, all of these effects that you're having on the skin when the skin is getting super swollen and super hard to work with. That is literally because you need to keep the pH balance in check while you're tattooing on the skin. So I'm gonna tell you, for one, there's nothing wrong with having a foam wash solution. Me, myself, I use Hustle Bubbles. There's nothing wrong with having these antimicrobial cleaning solutions, not antibacterial, antimicrobial, because we want to actually work with the good bacteria that's in the skin and suppress the bad bacteria that'll grow from just the tattoo, which is basically an open infection while we're working on the skin. So By using water only and antimicrobial washing solutions, we help keep the skin clean, keep it refreshed, rinse it off, and we control and lock down the entire pH balance while we're doing the whole tattoo. Y'all, number one, if you don't change nothing about how you tattoo, the green soap bottle is fine. Whatever you guys want to use as a soaping solution is fine. But when you wipe that skin off every time until it get messy where you can't see it, water only, y'all. Major key alert. All right. Let's go ahead and go into number 2. This one is going to be a little bit more in depth. That's why I'm going to write this one with the black marker. Uno dos. Y'all, and this is what a lot of people suffer with. And I'm going to break this down so y'all know. You guys, a lot of y'all are struggling with tattooing because you do not have the correct tattoo needle. I know y'all like, man, what you mean? I use my round liners and I use my round shaders and I use my mags. Nah, it's much more in depth than that. And I'm gonna show y'all. But remember, this rule number 2 of the tattoo bottle. If y'all like this type of content, make sure y'all buy my OnlyFans too. I want y'all to ask yourself, what does this needle say? I'm gonna even give y'all a waiting time. Ask yourself, what does this needle say? I'll even give y'all some time. Let me guess. Y'all said, well, it's some type of brown liner. Y'all, each one of these means something completely different. Each one of these means something completely different, y'all. And I'm gonna tell y'all before we even get into it. This is a 12 gauge, 5 turbo round liner long taper. And I'm gonna break down what each one of these color indentations mean when you're selecting a needle. So let's go ahead and start with the black one. The black one is what we like to call the gauge. The gauge of the needle is literally y'all, the gauge of the needle is literally the size of the hole that each individual needle punches into the skin. And if you want to relate it to something tattoo related to help you understand it, when you get your ears pierced, they gauge how big your hole is going to be by how big the needle is. That's why when you have gauges, different gauges mean different hole sizes in the ear. And seeing that's what happens when the tattoo needle actually pierces the skin. When it punches the skin, it opens the skin, and then when the needle comes out, it creates like a vacuum effect that sucks ink down up into it. Now you see why it's kind of important to kind of balance out what you're using in the skin, because the dirt, the grime, the ointment, the sanitary solution that you use to keep the skin clean, all of that shit floods into the skin all at the same time when the ink goes in there. The more natural that the ink or the pigment goes into the skin with less irritation and less chemicals, the more brighter, the more bolder, the more acceptable it is to the skin. And y'all, these gauges is going to determine the thickness of the line. See, you guys have been trying to drop down needle configurations, or like 5, and the 5 too big, so you drop down to a 3. But you guys aren't adjusting the gauges and how big the hole is being punctured into the needle, how big the hole is being punctured into the skin by the needle. So that's kind of making you work harder because you actually can't know or can't read or can't figure out what these actually mean. So let me go ahead and say 12 gauge, that's a big hole. That's a big hole in the skin. I use 12 gauge 5s. The reason why I use 12 gauge 5s is to give me that single file hit control, and the fact that the hole is so big between the 5, you will see that a lot of my artwork has super thick, bold lines on the outside of it, but the inside is super refined and super detailed. So I use 12 gauge 5s. Whenever I want to do details, I drop down and I go and I get a smaller gauge. Below 10, these are called bug pins. You know how people be like, oh, well, you need to use the bug pins because the bug pins open up the skin better. True, the bug pin does open up the skin better, but the bug pin punches a smaller hole, so it moves in and out of the skin better. But now you're making yourself work harder because the hole size that is punching in the skin is so small. So it may be opening up the skin better because the needle is actually smaller, so it can move more surgical in and out the skin. But now you have to double your effort and double your time because you have to slow all the way down and slowly walk all of the color together. On fairer skin, that's fine, but y'all, when you tattoo black people, the bigger the hole, the bigger the ink amount, the bigger and brighter that the tattoo is going to be, because the hole in the skin is so big when it comes in and out of the skin. You don't have to double or super sweep your hand motions and irritate the black skin. You can sweep one time good and one time back in the color, or the black will come back solid. And if anyone sees my hand motions when I work, my hand movements are real controlled swings, and it just delivers and dumps and let the ink flow in and out of the skin. I want you to ask yourself when you tattooing with your machine. When I tattoo with my machine, think about it like a sewing machine. If you see a sewing machine, you can't pull the fabric through the sewing machine faster to make it work. You have to actually let the sewing machine work how it works, and you got it. That's what you guys need to start thinking about tattooing. You're not pushing the machine down. You're not moving the machine faster than what it works. The machine works how it works. No matter what voltage or the speed that the machine is on, it's not moving no faster. You have to guide the machine. You have to guide the tattooing. And that kind of puts you in the front seat of being able to control what you do. So, to give you an even better example, this is how thick a 12 gauge line will be. Or I'm gonna just really show you all the gauge lines. Do y'all see, like, let's say these are round liners. Y'all see the thickness of the lines? These are not needle configuration. These are, remember, these numbers represent how big the hole puncher is whenever the tattoo needle goes in and out of the skin. So even if I had a 5RL, this is how thick the line differences will be in that 5 round liner needle configuration, depending on what gauge it is. Y'all, you tearing up black skin because y'all are lining in 10s and 8s when you need to be pushing 12 gauge tattoo needles. Black skin does not like all of them super tight, super closed in tattoos. All of my tattoos are big, bright, and bold on brown skin because they are huge and they're blown up, so the details can be open. The color swings can be open. The lines can be thicker. The gauge of my needles can be huge, so it delivers a super packed punch of ink into the skin. So not only does this apply when you do like round liners, let's even say I was doing a mag. let's say this represent area of skin. Let's say I was coloring this in. Now, do y'all see that? Let's say this whole area right here is skin. Now, out of this whole area of skin, which gauge needle do you think will fill up this circle faster? Definitely not 5, definitely not 8. So bug pins are out of there. 10 will kind of do okay, but 12 is taking up the most amount of space in this circle. Now do you guys kind of understand? When you use bigger gauge needles, they punch a bigger hole. So what that means is, let's say this was a 5 mag. No, let's say this was a 9 mag. Y'all, that 9 mag, this is the different size amount of area in sweeps. And you want to know how this can be kind of put together? Y'all know when you be shading and then you get all of them splotchy holes, like your color is all splotchy looking, like it's not full, because the hole amounts in the skin aren't big enough so they don't touch. It's like the same way, thinking about this. If you was digging a hole and you put a hole right beside it, it's gonna look sketchy. But if you drop the hole and extend the hole from where you're working it on out, then you wanna end up with a big ass fucking crater. And that's what you wanna do. I open, all of my needles are 12 gauge, so they open the skin up more and leave huge deposits of color into the skin because it's opening the skin up. It's going right in that dermal layer and it's depositing huge amounts of ink. It's the same way as if you're trying to drive a car through a door and then you try to drive a car through a fucking garage. Is the bigger that the hole is, the more you can deliver through the hole. So even if this was a 9 mag, that 9 mag 12 gauge is going to take up a huge amount of area in the skin. Still 9 needles though. The 10 gauge 9 is going to work a little bit better and a little bit softer, but it's not going to puncture like the 12 gauge needles. So y'all, rule number 1, when you got to do detail in your favorite needle selection, sometimes y'all using 11 and 14 round liners when y'all niggas need to be using 12 gauge 7s, 12 gauge 9s. Sometimes you trying to detail and you trying to use 3 round, 1 round liner. Sometimes you need a 5 10 gauge or a 5 bug pin 8 or a 5 gauge. So we have to learn how to read these needles. We have to know that whenever we see a number with a number sign in front of it, we know this is automatically telling me how thick that needle is. So, for one, we need to always know needle gauge. Now the second number, or the green asterisk, that's needle group. Y'all are tattoo artists. I'm pretty sure y'all kind of understand this. Like if you get a 5 round liner, it's 1 needle, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or if it's 6, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much normal. So now we know that this needle is a 12 gauge 5 needle grouping. Now we're finna go to these numbers right here. So needle grouping is kind of standard tattoo information. I'm pretty sure y'all have that graph for tattoo knowledge. Now this right here is needle This one is needle configuration. I know when y'all read this needle, that T threw y'all off. That T represents a turbo. And before we even talk about this, let me tell y'all why I use turbo liners. It's because when you see tattoo needles, they usually come to a point like that. See, the thing what makes the turbo liner different is because right in the center of this, the turbo liner is actually hollow, so it lets a big deposit of ink sit in the bubble in the center of the needle. So when it pierces into the skin, it has a bubble of ink that it just pushes into the skin. And the reason why they call it a turbo liner is the turbo liner turbos deposit 200% more ink than regular liners. So if y'all like, God damn, how is he pulling them thick lines with that 5? Because the turbo needles deposit 200% more ink than a regular round liner. So whenever you see a T in front of a RL, it usually 9 times out of 10 means it's a turbo. Turbo liners are the shit. But a lot of these words are the same thing. Like they call them bore liners or power liners or super liners, turbo liners. It's all the same word. It's soda pop drink juice cold drink. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. It's the same word that's used to describe the same action that it performs. But your needle configuration lets you know what this is gonna be. Needle configuration is the same way how you would have like a round liner, a round shader, a mag. Sometimes they'll say CMG, not Cocaine Music Group, but Curve Mag, but Curve and Smooth Edge. Smooth Edge Mag, those are both the same thing. Those Curve and Smooth Edge just describe the same thing. The mag is just literally curved or it's literally rounded because it's going to help blend and it's going to touch the skin with way less trauma than a flat mag actually would. So your needle configuration is always going to be right here. Now I know y'all wonder like, what the fuck is them last letters right there? What is LT? What is that, a Chevy? Nah y'all, it ain't no Chevy. Last but not least, these are your needle tapers. Now, I'm finna tell y'all, I'm finna show y'all what a needle taper actually is, and you need to know this. So let's say this was the breaking point of when all of your needles hit the skin. So this is skin. So I'm finna show y'all. This is what happens. This your needle tapers, these are what the tattoo needles actually look like when they pierce into the skin. The taper is the length of the hole from where the needle can withdraw ink, where the needle can draw ink and how deep it can go into the skin. Y'all listen, I know y'all be feeling like y'all tattoos don't go deep enough. You don't push in the skin. The taper on how deep the hole is made into the skin is probably too short. I use long taper needles because look at all of this, y'all. All it is ink. Now y'all see the difference. Y'all think white people don't know how to tattoo black skin. they literally don't know this information like this, so they're using shorter and medium taper needles on you, trying to make the hole deeper, more in depth, when you literally get a longer taper needle to make the area go deeper into the skin to deposit more ink. Now think about it. Now this right here would be a 10 gauge hole. This that would be a 12 gauge hole. You see what I'm saying? You see how much more space that needle takes up when the gauge on it is big? You see how all of these things play a part in depositing ink into the skin? The shorter the taper, the less big of a dot that the needle is going to leave into the skin. So longer taper needles will be used for color. Longer, bigger gauge needles used for color. Smaller gauge needles with smaller tapers are used for black and gray work. That's when you see an artist gently walk down black and gray shading over the course of skin, and the way that they're moving is so proficient and so well executed because the dots are so small that they can literally build the fuck out of every detail in their tattoo. That's why when you see a lot of work done on like Hispanic skin or white skin, and it'd be black and gray, but it'd be really red and really like irritated up under there, but it's super smooth, it's because they were using a smaller gauge, shorter taper needle to cause less damage in the skin, so the black and gray can actually be worked into the skin instead of dumped into the skin. You have to start thinking about doing color tattoos as playing rock guitar, and start thinking of black and gray tattoos as playing the violin. So all of these things matter. So you can have long taper needles, medium taper needles, short taper needles. Shorts and mediums are used for portraits. Long is used for lining and color. See how all of this matter? So now y'all see, this is a 12 gauge 5 turbo round liner long taper. Now I want y'all to put all those together now. And I want you to let's read some needles out together. Now that we understand completely what this is going on. So now let's draw it again. We know this is the gauge. We know this is the needle grouping. We know this is the configuration. And we know this is the taper. So let's say I want to do a portrait. Let me get a 8 gauge because the 8 hole is going to be small. Let me get a 3 round liner because the line is going to be thin. And I already said it was going to be a round liner because I want my needle to come to a super point. And since I'm doing deep lines in the skin, because that's my style, very bold lines, it's going to be a long taper because the hole in the skin is going to be that deep. See how all these things matter now? All those things matter. And that's if I was doing a portrait. Now let's see what a mag would look like. Let's say I want to do a super color pack tattoo. I'm automatically going for a 12 gauge because I want a super big hole in the skin. My mags, I like to always stay between 9 and 13. I be feeling like those super wide mags don't give you a clean sweep in the skin. So let's say I want a 13 mag. And then the needle configuration. Oh, hold on, let me go ahead and draw that for you guys. And I already said it was going to be a mag. And I told you I was doing color. So long taper, always. Always on color, long taper. See how all these needles matter? Now when you go and you buy your needle selections, now you can fully read the whole box of needles and you can completely adjust your style to the type of needles that you need. All you need to remember is the smaller the gauge, the less amount of vividness that it brings into the tattoo. So, y'all, needle gauge, needle grouping, needle configuration, needle tapers. Boom. How many of y'all did not know that until right now? I know, right? Now we're going to talk about something really, really simple. And a lot of y'all done had sex. A lot of y'all should know about this. Y'all, let's talk about the stroke. I'm talking TKO. Y'all, let's go ahead and talk about stroke. Usually in machines, you have a 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, and a 5.0. Y'all, I'm gonna make this very, very simple. With the stroke, I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all the slingshot method. Now, the reason why I want to teach y'all the slingshot method is because I want y'all to really understand this. Like, let's say, I wish I had a rubber band. Now, let's say, with the slingshot method, the 2.0 stroke, that's like about right here. Like, let's say I got a slingshot. That's about right here. Y'all see that? Or not even a slingshot method. Let's call it the baseball method. A 2.0 would be a bunt. That's a bunt. A 3.0 would be a swing. A full swing. It's going in the outfield. It's out of there. That's how hard I'm hitting. The 4.0 is an outfield. A 5.0 is a grand slam. Y'all, when you buy the stroke on a machine, the stroke literally means how hard the machine literally hits. That's it. 2.0s to 3.0s, these are black and gray and line numbers. 4.0 to 5.0, is color packing. 4.0 to 5.0 is color packing. 2.0 to 3.0 is lining or black and gray shading. Because these strokes are super soft and less damaging on the skin. So it gives you more control and more pinpoint accuracy when you're doing things. And that's what you really need when you're playing or when you're doing a tattoo on the skin, especially when their work is heavily detailed. Now, 4.0 to 5.0, these are hard. The reason why you won't want to do a 5.0 with a 5.0 stroke and try to do a black and gray tattoo with it is because it hits the skin so hard, you don't get those super powdery, soft gray blends. You're not going to get that out of a hard-hitting machine. It's going to be way too much on the skin. It's going to be like a jackhammer. This is going to be like a tap. This is going to be like a hammer and a nail. this is going to be like a wrecking ball, and this is going to be like, no, this is going to be like a jackhammer, and that's going to be like a wrecking ball. You can't play the piano with a wrecking ball. You're going to need a machine that's going to hit the skin lightly. So now when you compare this to needles, you can get a machine with a hard-hitting stroke and get a needle with a huge gauge and a long taper, and it's going to make you deposit color 500% better, no lies. A lot of y'all is wondering why your tattoo work isn't getting better, and even though you're buying better machines, it's not fit to you. And that's why knowing all of these things is 100% important where you're trying to do the tattoo, trying to manage the tattoo, and trying to get those super sophisticated looks on the skin. So, always when you buy a machine, understand what stroke you're buying it. Some machines like the FK Iron, Zion, you can adjust the cam on it. Some machines like the Cheyenne Hawk, they just come 3.0 or 3.5 and it is what it is. So sometimes y'all may be buying these machines and wonder why your color isn't just getting there or why your details isn't just getting there, because the machine is only designed a certain way and you're not trying to adapt to the machine rather than make the machine adapt to you. Boom. Who just learned something about strokes today? Let's hit that KO. What those strokes matter, baby. So make sure y'all all learn about what strokes is. That shit is very 100% important. Yo, now I'm gonna tell y'all, listen, this is the great debate. Curve versus straight mags. Which one is better? I know how many of y'all be like, no, you gotta use the curve. No, you gotta use the flat. No, you gotta use the straight mag. Y'all listen. I'm finna help y'all understand this right now. Listen. Let's take the curve mag for instance. Let's say this is skinny. Y'all listen. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Y'all look. Y'all, that's a curved mag. Look how much empty space is not touching the skin fully. How can you think that look, if you're lining from here or shading from here to here, only here to here is getting that color. You using these curved mags and it's not even sweeping the skin for you. Those are meant for blending because now less friction is touching the skin, plus the mag is smooth. That's why when makeup artists blend, they use blender balls, or that's why makeup brushes are round, because they're meant for blending. Now I want you to think about it in the straight mags. Now, when you think about it in a straight mag, y'all, if you're shading from here to here, guess how much of that area is getting colored? Here to here. Why do you think they made brooms flat? Because they sweep better. They grab more surface areas they're pushing out. When your broom gets round on the end, it's bad. So you're gonna get a flat broom. Argue with physics. Don't argue with me. Curd mags are for blending. Straight mags are for solid packing. Period. This is period. You cannot argue with this. How are you gonna argue with that? Say it's not true. So a lot of y'all been using them curd mags trying to get color like me. I don't use curd mags, homie. I use curd mags when I blend. Everything I'm rocking with is flat and straight. So now you see how when you use a certain needle with a certain gauge, with a certain needle depth, with a certain stroke machine, it's like when you see somebody hammer a nail into a wall with a screwdriver or a brick, but they make a hammer. The brick is not gonna perform better than a hammer. The hammer was made to do their job. A lot of y'all is using bricks, and it's time for y'all to put that down and start picking up the right hammer. Remember, curd versus straight mags. You can't lie. You can't lie. Make sure y'all go ahead and picture that. You can't lie on that. This is probably something, it's common sense. But see, when you learn tattooing, people try to teach you their way of tattooing is correct instead of teaching you the fundamentals on what they're doing, and then you use that to develop yourself as an artist. So, curd mags versus straight mags. Yo, ain't this shit crazy, y'all? Yo, this shit is fucking wild. Ain't that tight? Now, this is the Tattoo Bible. Listen, now, last and not least, I'm finna tell y'all. I don't even know if I spelled it right, but tattoo ointments, y'all, listen. The Ink Eases and the Vitamin A and D, and I won't even say use Vitamin A and D because Vitamin A and D has microcrystalline in it. That shit is not good for the skin. I like to use creams like Sandy Balm, and I like to use like Mamba Glide by Electrum. Shout out to Electrum. Y'all know Electrum is the phrase that pays. I'm signed with Electrum. I like to use these type of ointments because they have one thing that other ointments don't have. How we exaggerating that black marker. Y'all, the reason why I like to use them ointments is because they have omega fatty acids in them. If y'all need to know something about your hair, and your nails love healthy fats. They love omega 3s and 6s. Omega 3s and 6s. When you look at fat is yellow. That's why these ointments, when you see an ointment that's super rich in yellow, it has omega fatty acids in it. These is what's going to keep their skin going for 9 and 10 hours. When that skin gets dry and that skin gets wore out and that skin is getting ready to go and it needs a little something to push it further, you putting all them chemicals and smell goods and all that other shit into the skin, that shit is not gonna work. That shit is not gonna help. You have to start thinking tattooing. The more, listen, natural, I'm not even gonna say it's good. Natural is best.
Period.
All that vanilla, bubble gum, weird ink, all that shit is horrible for the skin. These ointments, they got that omega-3 fatty acids. That is what's going to keep their skin going. All those other brands ain't doing nothing but just tearing your tattoo apart. You've been working so hard on a tattoo, you just been tearing it the fuck apart. And you do not want to tear these tattoos the fuck apart. You actually want to get these ointments that have omega-3 fatty acids up into it. That shit is good for the skin. Even when women are pregnant and their stomach stretches, those fatty acids and those healthy fats help coat that stomach, help get that skin retention in there. And then when the baby passes, the skin snaps back and pulls all the way back because it's rich in vitamins and nutrients that come out of those healthy fats. Y'all listen, when you tattoo, I cannot reiterate this. Natural is best. Natural is best. Natural is best. We are not fucking with chemicals. No to chemicals. No to chemicals. Chemicals are bad for the skin. No to chemicals. Natural is best. No to chemicals. That shit got a fragrance? No. If that shit got some type of special texture or weird other shit going? No. If that shit says omega-3s, if that shit says it has vitamins, A, B, C, especially E. E is the good one because that contributes to skin health. So all of these things you wanna look for when you look for tattoo ointments. I don't use all these crazy ointments. I don't use all these crazy creams. I use what is natural because what natural is best.
Period. Point blank. Period. 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 Period.
Before I get up out of here, guys, I'm gonna tell y'all something because this shit is really popping on the tattoo screen. On the tattoo scene. Yeah. Let's talk about numbing shit for a second. That shit is a double-edged sword. If y'all don't know what a double-edged sword is, that means it's gonna help you just as it's gonna hurt you just as much as it's gonna help you. When you guys use numbing cream, they got other good brands like, Tattoo Numbing Company, Hush, Tattoo Soothe, Dr. Numb. It's so many, even some weird ones from China. It's so many of them that come up here. Y'all listen. The numbing is a double-edged sword. When it wears off, you're gonna slam your client into a 10, 12-hour cheat. Is the camera still good? Cheat. Is the camera still good? Okay. Is when you do sorry about that, y'all. I had to make sure this motherfucker was recording. When you use the numbing cream and it wears off, it slams your client into a 10-hour session. Those natural endorphins that kick in, the natural pain relievers of the skin, when they kick in, they're not when the numbing cream is active. When it wears off, the endorphins don't kick in because your body said, oh, you tough? Fine, fuck it then. I'm going to keep my endorphins. And now you're balls deep in a 10-hour tattoo, and this is almost no pulling back once that shit wears off. And plus, sometimes you really rolling the dice that they don't have an allergic reaction to the lidocaine they dip into it. I actually, believe it or not, I actually do not use the numbing cream. Only. If it's like they have to get this done before they fly out. Maybe. And I'm still on the fence about it. But when I exercise those skills on using omega fatty acids, making sure that my clients eat prior, because if you also did not know, your blood sugar level, your insulin level can completely contribute to the amount of pain that you can take. You can take more pain on a full stomach than you can on an empty one because your body's going to be so sensitive. That's why whenever they're tattooing there, I feel high, I feel lightheaded, and they start sweating. Then you ask them, did they eat? No, blood sugar dropping. Give them candy, give them sugar. The sugar acts like a false adrenaline in the body. That y'all hyped up on sugar. The endorphins kick in and rush the body. And then they're like, oh, I'm back normal. I'm ready to go now. So when you practice these healthy tattooing methods, you can actually take your clients 10, 12, 14 hours on the tattoo. They start dying at the end, but you already did all the damage, baby. Time to start laying that white. You already did the damage, baby. Like, we here. You finna go, but we here. So I actually don't use the numb. Y'all, this some grade A secret shit. How y'all feeling? Is this helping y'all? Is this doing something amazing for y'all? But that, cause I don't wanna hold y'all here too long. That is actually my version of the Tattoo Bible. The reason why I call it the Tattoo Bible is because everything I just told y'all about, these are the commandments and the foundation that is going to decide if you finna be this type of tattoo artist or you finna be this type of tattoo artist. Y'all like these type of seminars and y'all feel like I should do one over how I invest my tattoo money, how I carry my clients, how we break down and do tattoo stencils. Then I'll go ahead and put those videos up and I'll try to drop one of these seminars once every month to kind of give people time to absorb and take in this knowledge. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe to my page. I appreciate y'all for supporting me. Please tag me in a video. Let them know that this shit was so fucking helpful. And if you do tattoos, you need to see this fucking video because this is going to change. If you use this today, I promise you, it is going to change how you tattoo the next time you tattoo or your money back. I guarantee that. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe to my page. I appreciate y'all for coming.